All right, hello everyone, and once again, good evening, and I believe everyone is doing well. Okay, great. All right, so the focus for this month has been on building structure for our money or building structure around our money, right? And then the previous month we look deeply into awareness, and this month we started with systems. And the first week of this month we started with the systems, and then last week we look into allocation, right? Now we understood what systems are, and then why systems are more better than motivation. And then we also say that systems beat motivation. Then we look into allocation, and then we understood last week that allocation is just got to do with giving every city a job, right? So making every city have a specific direction that it's going, so that if you receive money in any form, you know that okay, maybe 10 cities of this money that I received, maybe that is going into my data bundle, or that will be used for my transport and all of that. So allocation, as we discussed last week, is basically giving every city a job, right? Now we understood all of these things, and that now the next question that uh, we want to look into is what happens if something goes wrong, right? So you know how to earn money, you know how to save money, and all of that. And so maybe you have your own allocation rule to give every city a job. But what happens if something goes wrong? That's what we are here to explore today. So uh, we can't tell what will happen to anyone at any time, but then we should also be aware that some of these things we can't do away with them, right? So it also means that we need to put structure in place so that if the unexpected happen, we are cover up, right? So some way somehow the monies that we receive should be able to also protect us. So and that is what we are here to explore today. Okay, safety is what allows your system to actually work, right? So Ahmed would be taking over, and then we want to look, get deeper into those stuffs, right? But then before Ahmed comes, quick one. Last week we shared, what's the name? We shared the dashboard with you, and then it also has a manual. I believe we were able to use it and then track our finances. Or we started using it. Has anyone started using it? Are there any challenges? Okay, you can let us know in the group so that we address uh, any difficulty or any challenges that you are facing if there is one. Okay, so please don't hesitate to let us know. Okay, so today, as I said, we want to understand what safety really means and uh, how to start building it. Okay, so Ahmed, if you can hear me and then you are ready, then take over and let's get it done.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. I trust we are all doing well. So, Sebastian, before I begin with my presentation, I believe Jessica reached out to me about the dashboard, and I promised that tonight's session I'll do well to provide explanation on how we can do that. So, hopefully, once we've been able to finish tonight's presentation, I'll use 2 minutes to explain everything to her, and then we can end the meeting. So we've already spent 10 minutes, and we have almost like 20 minutes more for us to finish the presentation. So let me share my screen, and then I'll just dive into tonight's session. So if you can see my screen, please kindly react to it so that I can see that, yes, everything is on point before we start. So please kindly react if you can see my screen. Okay. So then officially, let's start tonight's session. All right. So once again, we appreciate you for being present for tonight's section, and hopefully, we are going to gain so much insight as we journey through our finances with the aim of gaining financial clarity, stability, and freedom as well. So last week, as Sebastian said earlier on, we focused on allocation, the importance of allocation, how to allocate your finances. And one clear thing that we talk about is savings and investment. I remember clearly explaining the difference between savings and investment, why savings is more important before investment. And I remember also saying that last week that for this month we are focusing on safety, which is savings, and next month will be solely focused on investment. And that is why for tonight's session we are going to be focused on safety, which is the stability and financial briefing room. Okay, so now let's start with our core truth, which is safety comes before growth. As I said last week, I remember when I was explaining the difference between savings and investment, I said that before you can start investing, you need to be financially safe. Know that you have enough savings that can help you in terms of emergency before you even start any investment. And this is because most of us make financial mistakes under pressure, and pressure definitely will reduce the quality of the decisions that we make. Now, when you have safety or financial safety, definitely is going to create a briefing room for you, and then the briefing room will allow you to create better choices. So I'll explain this further in the next slides. Okay, so now let's talk about what financial safety actually means. Okay, so first of all, understand that when we talk of financial safety, it doesn't mean that you have to be rich. No. Basically, it means that you having enough savings or buffer that whenever there's any unexpected expenses, it doesn't create any financial crisis for you. For example, financial safety be like financial catastrophic. It also means that when you lose your phone, you shouldn't be devastating. Some of us are press when there's a problem with our phone, and mostly this is because basically financial safety also means that when there's a medical bill, you don't have to be forced to go and borrow because you don't have any money. So is we tend to believe that, oh, I have saved 5,000.
So Ahmed, sorry, your line keeps going off. I don't know if it's my network or everybody is feeling the same.
Just and then we can continue.
Okay.
All right, please. I hope I'm loud and clear now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Please pardon me for that. Sometimes the network is some way. So thank you, Sebastian, for that. And in case it keeps on breaking, you can let me know so that we can continue. So as I was saying, some of us, one common or let's say maybe an example is I save 5,000 cedis to my account, so that means that I have financial stability or safety. But then that is not how financial safety is being measured. Specifically, you just have to ask yourself, if your income, if your salary is to be stopped today, how many months of basic expenses can you cover or can you survive before you go broke? And that is how financial safety is being measured. So when you do the calculation, then you realize that you can only last for 1 month. Then it means that your financial safety is fragile. But when you have 3 months, you can survive for 3 months. It means that you are financially stable, and more than 6 months means that you are really strong and very confident when it's come to financial safety. So now, why does financial safety matters more than we think? Okay, so now understand this. Without safety, every financial decision carry fear. That is, you will always be asking yourself, should I invest? And in case you decide that, okay, yes, I want to invest, now you'll be asking yourself, now if I invest and there's an emergency, what is going to happen? And you keep on asking yourself, like, Should I pursue a better opportunity? And if I have to, can I even afford the risk? And all these questions and this stress will be due to you lacking financial safety. And if you remember, earlier on here, I said that most financial mistakes are made under pressure and fear. And then pressure reduces the decision quality that we normally make. So when you lack financial safety, it leads to fear, and fear leads to pressure. And at the end of the day, the quality of your decision is going to be low or very poor. Now, as you all know, fear based decisions are reactive and not strategic. This is because they prioritize short term survival over any long term growth. Now, example is this. Imagine that as a student, you've been given, let's say, 500 cedis for your monthly allowance, and then within the first 10 days of the month, you spent like 400 cedis. Now, you are left with 100 cedis to survive for the next 20 days. That means you'll be under financial fear and pressure. So automatically, you are not going to be thinking about the long term, but rather you'll be focusing on how you are going to survive on 100 days for the next 20 days. And that will lead to pressure, that will lead to fear. And as you all are aware, when you are under financial pressure or distress, the quality of your decisions is going to be very low. And safety, when it comes to financial safety, it removes the fear from decision making, because with a financial let's say emergency fund, you can think clearly, you can take risk, you can say no to pressure, and in fact you can even invest without any panic, because you know that you have some money aside that you put in place of emergency. And now some of us, we wonder why the wealthy people, they are always calm about money, they are not in a rush, they don't have any pressure. This is because they have unlimited funds, they have the stability, they have enough money that normal life events cannot threaten their stability. And that is why they always seem to be calm about money, because they are financially stable. Now, I said this one earlier on. Financial stress leads to poor decisions. Research consistently shows that financial stress impairs your cognitive functions. And if you are all aware, cognitive functions helps in making quality decisions. But then when there's financial stress, it impairs your cognitive function. So when you are anxious about money, your brain automatically shifts into survival mode. Long-term thinking shuts down, impulse control weakens, decision quality drops. And that is why when you are broke, I don't think there's any possibility that you'll be thinking about, let's say, the next 10 years, the next 5 years, how you are going to manage your finances. But you'll be focusing on how you are going to survive on the short term. And this definitely will lead to pressure. And as we are all aware, when you are under pressure, your decision quality is very low. And this is why people under financial pressure also make choices they later regret. Maybe taking loans, selling an asset at a loss, and then later on they make, I mean, some of them even make desperate investment. And at the end of the day, they later regret because they were under pressure and they didn't make the right choice. Now, let's talk about this misconception, stability and wealth. Some of us, we tend to believe that stability, when I'm financially stable, it means that I am wealthy, or that I have to be wealthy before I am financially stable. This is a misconception. Stability and wealth are not synonymous. This is a misconception, and let me explain why. Stability when it comes to finances, and it's about you having a briefing room. All right, Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian. Come again. Sebastian, you've raised your hand. Is there any problem? Oh, okay. I hope I'm clear now. Can you hear me clearly? All right, then let's continue. So as I was saying, your when it comes to wealth, it's about having enough abundance, a lot of assets, and less liabilities, growth, and calmness. But then and options, sorry. But for stability, it's about you having protection, buffer, breathing room, and calm. And in terms of emergencies, you are not going to be in trouble. So now let me put it in this way: you can be financially stable without wealth. Okay, but then for you to be a wealthy person, you have to be financially stable first. But then you can be financially stable without you being wealthy. Now, this is an illustration. A person earning 2,000 cedis monthly with 6,000 cedis saved, which is like 3 months of his or her expenses, has stability. But then a person earning 10,000 cedis with no savings has no stability. But then that person has wealth potential because of the amount of money they are earning monthly. Okay, so stability comes first because without it, you cannot build wealth sustainably. You will constantly interrupt growth to handle emergencies. And this is true. You cannot focus on investment. Meanwhile, you don't have any savings in your account. And this is one of the basic mistake that all of us make. I used to make this same mistake. Like people will talk about investment. I'll be like, hey, MTN is doing what they're paying dividend. So let me rush to go and invest. And then the thing is, in 2 weeks' time, you become broke, you need money, and then you go and sell your shares again, come back again. And it's like you are more in a loop. You invest, you take it to cater for your needs and all that. So understand that financial stability comes first before wealth creation. And that is why last week I talked about savings and investment, and I definitely said you have to save enough before you focus on investment. You cannot rush to go and be doing investment. Meanwhile, you don't have enough money in your savings account that in times of emergencies you can use to survive. So now let's do this analysis and then we can call it a day, which is how to define your personal safety number. So it depends on three factors. For the sake of time, I'm trying to rush through a bit. The first factor is your monthly survival expenses, not your current spending, your absolute minimum to survive. So you have to sit down, list all your monthly survival expenses. Please, it's like your needs, the most important needs that you know that you can't do without it. Those are your monthly survival expenses. You list them up and then you try to state your risk exposure. How stable is your income? Do you have dependence and all that? And then your emotional comfort as well. So now this is the formula here. Safety target is equal to your monthly survival expense times months of buffer. So let me give you an example. For most people, 3 months is the initial target. Yes, that is true. I remember I said this earlier on. So now, if monthly you like in a month you spend like 1,500, that is your monthly survival expense. So if you want to gain stability of 3 months, you are supposed to multiply the 1,500 by the 3 months, which is the 4,500. So that means that for you to be financially stable, at least you should have 4,500 in your account so that in times of emergency, maybe you lose your job, you can still depend on it. Once your savings account is less than that, then that means you are not financially stable yet. And then also understand this, you don't have to try to build your financial buffer fastly, but most of us, that is what we do. We try to sacrifice everything else. If our salary is 2k every month, we try to be saving 1,000 cedis so that we can have financial stability. But then understand this, you will definitely burn out, and then at the end of the day you are going to break the system because you are broke and you have to go for your savings, take it, spend it, and at the end of the day you end up back at zero. So the better approach is simple: build slowly and consistently. And that is why last week we talked about allocations, because it will help you to analyze your finances, know the best way, the best, model to use in order to build financial stability and ensure that you're also able to cater for your needs and other expenses as well. So that brings me to the end of tonight's section. And for the sake of time, I would like Sebastian to come in and ask any question before I take us through the exercises for this week. Hi, Sebastian. Please, can you hear me? Okay, and please let's kindly use the next 2 minutes to talk about this because of time. We have less than 5 minutes for us to end our session. We are trying to stay within the 30 minutes, so
Yeah,
let's delve into that.
yeah, I'm back. You, sorry. Hello, hello.
But try my best to answer. Then I'll go through the exercises, and if there is time, I'll try to explain. I mean, the dashboard for everyone to understand. Bear with me.
Yeah, Ahmed. Hello, hello. Please, can you hear me? Hello. Okay.
Before we delve into the exercises.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm asking, is there any question before we
No, from my side.
delve?
Ahmed, so we can continue with the exercises. They said there are no questions for now. So.
Okay, that's fine. Summarize the exercises for the sake of time. So the first exercise is personal safety definition. So for this exercise, it will help you to identify what financial safety means, how she defined her safety. So this is a minimal survival expense. What she knows that for every month, no matter what, she has to spend on, like she has to spend if she has to survive. This is the total amount that she can survive on. This will even help you to understand because some of us, if our salary is 3K, we believe that oh, even 3K is not enough. But then if you are to really state the survival expenses, you notice that I could have even survived on 2K instead of the 3K. So this exercise will help you to work on that. So this is the exercise with questions and all that, and then it will also help you to build your safety plan as well. And then the second exercise is safety gap awareness. So this exercise will reveal how far you are from your financial safety. So this is an example about how three people assess their safety gap. So for Kwame, he's a national service personnel. We have Abina, who is a young professional earning 2,400 cedis as income. And then we also have Yao, who is an established professional. So all this will guide you before you also work on your financial safety assessment. You'll be able to know how much you save for your emergencies, your safety target, the difference, whether minus or positive, and this will help you to understand much more about. And then we also have an interpretation guide here. Once you've been able to do the second exercise, this interpretation will help you to understand where you currently are, whether you are close to financial crisis, financial stability, and all that. And finally, we have the community sharing prompt, which you are expected to share by the end of the week around Sunday, 6 p.m. So that brings me to the end of tonight's section. And if there's no question, then I would like to explain the dashboard, how the dashboard is expected to be used. All right, so please just a minute and I'll try to do that. Eh, eh. All right, please. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so please, it's time, but then I'm trying to explain the dashboard and then we can call it a day. So So basically, this is how the personal finance tracker is. So this first item is the date. That means for every day that you have to, put a record there, you have to input the date. For, let's say, today is 23rd of April 2026, simple as that. And then for the second column, it's about whether what you want to input is an income or an expense. So let's say it is an expense, you input it. Then the category, what kind of expense is it? Is it under transport, food, utilities, personal transfers, or others? For any other option, you try to input it there. Then the next column is description, so that later on you can really understand what you use the money for. If it's an expense, what you use the money for. If it's an income, what source of income is it? So you try to indicate it there. Then the account, you try to see the expense. Was it whether income or expense? Is it from your bank? Is it a cash, mobile money, or your savings? You try to also indicate it there. Then the last two button here, which is the amount. You just have to input the amount. It can be, let's say, 400 cedis, and that is it. So if you see here, this part, because I said it's an expense, that is why it is negative. And if you check here, if it is green, that means it is an income. And if it is negative and red, that means that it is an expense. So for every expense that you incur, you have to record it here. And then for every income that you receive, you're also supposed to record it here. So now, once you are done, you are supposed to come to this arrow here. It's under the F column. So you come to this black arrow here. This black arrow, you try to tap on it. Yes, the black arrow, and it's going to take you to the dashboard. Specifically, that is where it's going to take you to the dashboard. And when you come here, we have your bank account, your cash account, savings account, mobile money account, and then this is, let's come to this part. I hope you can follow the arrow so that you can understand it much better. So where the arrow is currently the monthly income and expense. So you can even try to off the expense so that you can focus on your income only, so that you know that, okay, in April my income was 2,500, in May 2,700, in June this and that. And you can also decide to even off the income on the expense, so that you know that, okay, in April this is the amount that I spend. But then in case you want to compare both your income and expense, you can try to on the two, so that you can use it to compare that, okay, so for this month this is my income and this is the amount that I spent, so that the difference will be like the remaining money in your account and all that. So now let's come to expense. If you remember, when we're inputting the record, we had an option for bank, cash, or mobile money. So this part will also explain, okay, you spend most of your money from your bank, or maybe you spend 18% from mobile money, maybe 4% is cash or anything as such. And then this part is the income summary. Income summary, your salary for the month, whether you make a transfer, whether you give someone a gift or anything as such. Then the last part here is your expense summary. So utilities, how much you spent, your transport, your transfers, personal use, food, and all that. So basically, this is how the dashboard is. And you can try to refresh it using this part. You can try to refresh your data, and okay. And also you can try to go full screen so that you can have a clear overview of how it is. You can have a better understanding of how it works and all that. And in case you are here and you want to go back to the input sheet, please, when you come to this part, the black arrow here, which is the input sheet, and you tap on it, it will take you back to your input sheet so that you'll be inputting your data and all that. Just be consistent with it. And once you've been able to do it for a month, you come back to your dashboard here, and it's going to display everything for you so that everything can be clear and understandable for you. So please, is there any question on this? Then, if there's no question, we can call it a day. Any question on what we've discussed so far this evening and on this dashboard as well? Any question, please?
I don't think there's any question.
Okay, so because nowadays we are trying to stay within the 30 minutes, we will not be having the time to ask everyone to share insight and all that. We realized that we are supposed to work with time, and that is why from last week we started to enforce the rules and standard in the community that if you miss our session continuously like 2 times without any reason, then automatically we are going to take you out. And if you are not consistent with submitting your workbooks as well, we are also going to do that. We only want to work with committed individuals and members. And in fact, it's going to make everyone serious here so that by the time we are done with this cohort, you definitely see difference in your financial or in your finances. So please let's keep on being consistent with our responsibilities on this community. And once again, I want to thank you all for being present for tonight's section. And I'll do all to share the workbook with everyone on the page, and then you can start working on it. So, Sebastian, is there any last word before we end it?
Well, with the stability, I would just say that let's see ourselves in that situation, and then also, like in a situation where maybe you lose your job today, or you are not well, and then you will not be able to work or get any income. Whatever you are saving today, would it be enough to take you through maybe the number of months that you wouldn't be working or receiving income? Okay, that is all that we are trying to establish here, the stability, right? So how long, how many months would you be able to uh, hold on with whatever thing that you are saving now, or how long would that survive, I mean, sustain you, right? Is it a month? Is it two, three? Even if it's a year, we are just asking how long, right? So if you're able to answer how long of this question, then you know how much you are to save, and then also um, I mean, just be able to do every other part, I mean, every other thing on your own part to be able to save enough and then be stable so that in case of emergencies, in case of unexpected situations, you will not find yourself wanting. So I think that is what I have to share. All right, so I mean, I think that's all. All right, so if there are no other questions, then we can call it a day. And then the session has been recorded, and then also we will upload it on our YouTube channel for uh, everyone to also review and then ask any question if there is anyone, any of such. Yeah. Okay, Judith. Yeah, your hands is up.
Please, I want to ask that what if you don't have savings at this moment, but maybe you've invested the saved money you have. So with that, can you still rely on your investments when you reach in times of crisis?
Okay, so well, Ahmed will take that, but then I think if you are talking about investment, what I will ask you is how long will it take you to get that money you invested, right? So based on the letter that I know about uh, kind of the financial thing is that there's something called liquidity. So even if you think you are investing it, it could be, let's say, mutual funds. Mutual funds, they are very liquid. You can easily get them, okay, maybe a day or two. So depending on your need and you saying your money is you invested it, which kind of investment are we considering and how long will it take you to get your money, right? So that's what I have to share. Ahmed, you are good? All right. So any other thing, then if there is none, then thank you all
Yeah,
for,
you've answered the question.
all right. So thank you all for joining, and then see you in the group.